Good evening and welcome to Ask the Home Inspector here on Berks Community Television. I'm your host, Joe Kelly with Advanced Home Inspections. And I've been inspecting homes in the Berks County and surrounding areas for about 17 years with over 5,000 satisfied customers. This show is underwritten by Keystone ASHI, the local chapter of the American Society of Home Inspectors. Over the course of the show, the hope is to explain to you how a house works and what you need to do to keep a house working. It is an audience participation show, so if you have any questions relevant to tonight's topic, feel free to call in at 610-378-0426. Our guest tonight is David Wallace of East Penn Energy Solutions, located also right here in Berks County. And we're going to be talking about energy efficiency tonight. So David, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your company?
Sure. Thank you, Joe. I've been an energy inspector for about 5 years.
Okay.
Prior to that, I was a building inspector. I was a building code official. And I've been finding it very, very exciting to be doing the energy auditing business.
Okay. And you do both commercial and residential work?
Yes, I do mostly residential with some new programs that I've started offering for commercial. Yeah.
Okay. And with the codes department, you said you were there quite a long time.
I was there for about 6 years. I was hired kind of in the upswing of the economy, and then I also fell victim to the downswing. And then
The good old days.
The good old days. So I figured nothing better than to start my own business.
And does your knowledge of codes help you with the energy efficiency?
Definitely, definitely. The experience of being in a home, I think that's been reassuring to many folks, is that I've been in a home in all states of disaster, whether it be a hole in the ground with a bare basement all the way up to a finished home. So people are always apologizing me to the state of their home. I've always seen worse. So the building inspection was definitely an asset.
Well, nothing much surprises me when I go into home anymore. The customers are shocked sometimes, but they just say, "You've probably seen that before, haven't you?" Yes, I have, unfortunately. So the average homeowner probably doesn't understand the physics of a home and how it works. And that's what you're doing is testing for efficiency and stack effect?
Yes. Actually, most of what I do is homeowner education. Mm-hmm. Spending a lot of time understanding what's going on in the home. I've had everyone from doctors to lawyers to housewives, everybody in between, and they don't understand how a home functions, the science of what's going on. One of the major things that I ask is, what is it? Why do they want to do an energy audit? When I ask that, they often say it's a comfort issue. They sometimes say it's an economic issue. It's never really clearly one or the other. The important part is that studies have shown that most of the reasoning behind doing an energy audit is actually through comfort. If people claim that it's through efficiency or economics, but actually it's mostly through comfort. Secondarily, it's an economic kind of thing. So when I get that piece of information, that lets me know a couple of things. If it's a comfort issue, we want to know that the typical thing is the second floor of the house colder than the first floor of the house. That's often a complaint, I think. People talk about drafts in windows. Once I get some of those basic building science questions out there, then I can spend some time educating the homeowner on why that is.
So the cost savings is secondary to the comfort level?
Generally it is, which is surprising to me.
Yeah, that is kind of surprising. And the physics of a house, all houses breathe, except for back in the 70s when we were building them way too tight. And without the proper ventilation or breathing, You can literally rot a house away from the inside out.
Yes, that's one of the things that we try to do. There is a standard for how tight a house should be. Theoretically, our principles are that a house should breathe. To what point is that? Do we need to be living in a barn? So it's always kind of been a defense of builders. Well, we don't want to do it. It's too tight. We're going to create a situation like what was being done years ago with a house being too tight. If you make one too tight, there's ways of addressing it nowadays to prevent those issues from occurring. Basically, poor indoor air quality, moisture, mold, those types of things. So I try to diagnose or calculate what the leakage rate should be for each individual house, because it's unique to every structure. And then I use equipment to tell me where you fall on that continuum.
And we have a picture of a blower door here, is that correct?
That's a blower door. That's what looks set up usually in the front door of the house. It sucks air out of the house at a prescribed rate. There's a little bit of a computer that controls this. It measures the speed and the amount of air running through the fan at a time. As that air is going out, it's coming in someplace in the house. And then that's the kind of witch hunt at that point. You have to go try to find out where that air is coming in.
And how do you find that? Do you just put your hand in front of it to feel the breeze? Do you smoke?
Sometimes that's all you need.
Sometimes
it's
yeah.
all you need. I've walked through many homes where I just walk and I feel a gust of air on my hand or on the back of my neck as the hair gets whipped. But often we use a thermal camera. A thermal camera is not a required tool by the national certification, but it often is instrumental in diagnosing airflow. It can also be used for diagnosing insufficient insulation.
And even pinpointing leaks.
And even pinpointing leaks.
So the idea behind a thermal camera is to show the difference in temperature of a surface, whether it be interior or exterior.
Yes.
And by that you can interpret lack of insulation, cold air movement, things like that?
Yes. I've got a picture here that shows a rim joist of a house that has leakage to the outdoors. You can see that the air the heat is coming in from the outdoors. It's coming in through the roof structure, and right now that's just a drywall ceiling. You could not see that.
Right.
And that's what the thermal camera does. At that point, we would make recommendations to have that area sealed.
So this is a summertime energy
That's a
loss.
summertime right there. Actually, it's almost 80 degrees coming in right there.
And the air conditioner is running like crazy.
And the air conditioner is running.
So there are other things to do as part of the efficiency also. What do you think of these programmable thermostats and how efficient are they?
Well, programmable thermostats are very important. In fact, with many of the energy programs I'm involved in, you're required to have one. The old-fashioned Honeywell Mercury switches, they've been told they're only accurate to maybe 5 degrees. So if you set your thermostat for 68, it could be anywhere 5 or 8 degrees above or below that. The programmable thermostats usually are good to about 1 to 2, maybe 3 degrees. And one of the advantage of having a programmable thermostat is, say at nighttime, you can kick your thermostat down a few degrees when you're not needed. Most people prefer to sleep in a colder environment, so you can knock the temperature down in the home and sleep more comfortably and save on your electric bill or your fuel bill.
Right, the secondary cost reason, or the secondary reason why people do an energy audit is cost savings.
Right.
So your company offers a wide variety of testing services, not necessarily the full-blown high-tech equipment, but you'll actually do a verbal walkthrough.
Yes, most of my work is homeowner education. Even if it's just parts of the audit, I'll spend an hour or two at times, often just talking with the homeowner, pointing things out.
And air leakage is the biggest cause of energy inefficiency.
Yes, I've been in several homes lately that have, by code, enough insulation, or at least code at one time in the recent past. But they're leaky. They're leaky. There's a home that was built 10 years ago, and it's twice as leaky as it should be. It's an all-electric home. Well, I found out that it's leaky. It's just leaking.
And that would be a $500 a month electric bill.
Or more, and
Yeah.
in this case it was more.
Interesting. So the benefit of doing an energy audit is to focus people on where best to spend their money to make repairs instead of pretty?
Well, yes. It's always been hard in the home performance industry to really sell home performance. It's much more interesting to take people in to see your $25,000 kitchen or $50,000 kitchen, or your granite countertops and all the hardwood floors throughout.
But wear your coat because it's chilly.
But we're chilly, and I've been in a number of homes that have spent tens of thousands of dollars on renovations, whether it be a gut renovation, a kitchen renovation, or even brand new windows and a new heating system. And they still call me up and say, well, I have a high efficiency furnace, but I still feel drafts in my homes. And I say, I wish I would have been there 8 months earlier before they did that. Mm-hmm. One, because I could have diagnosed where the biggest issues are that could save them some actual money or increase their comfort. Again, that was a comfort question. There's 5-degree difference between the second floor and the first floor.
Some of the relatively minor things can be no insulation behind an exterior wall receptacle. I've noticed oftentimes on a windy day in the winter, you can feel a breeze coming through there.
Often I do, running the blower door, you can feel the air coming in through the light switches, the wall plates, the receptacles. And often one of the easiest things you can do, some of the box stores have them. You could buy them 2 dozen for $5. The little gaskets are neoprene rubber. Right. You just take the faceplate off, put them on, and they do make a difference. They start working towards a difference, making a difference.
Not a high dollar impact, but
it's
a step.
It's a step in the right way. Another way that people often are unaware of the great impact of this, just even light bulbs. Light bulbs alone can change your electric or your power energy footprint by a lot.
Even the incandescent lights gave off so much heat that could affect your cooling too, but they're obsolete now.
In fact, a case in point, I did a renovation, not a renovation, a project. It was a commercial project down in Douglasville. And it was a new facility, an office building that had 96 recessed lights, all incandescent. And there was kicking off so much heat, it was, in fact, affecting the heating system or the cooling system. This was during the summer.
Right.
And when we switched them out for LEDs, which the power company graciously paid for a large portion of it, we wound up cutting the facility's electric bill in half.
In half? And that's a significant savings.
It was a significant savings.
Yeah. So we touched on a few of the things that a homeowner can do, such as neoprene gaskets on the outlets. How about weather stripping around doors, caulking around windows, things like that?
Well, weather stripping around doors, often what happens along the threshold, the walking side of the threshold, usually gets mangled in a fairly quick amount of time. The weather stripping on the latch side of a door, again, it's the wear side. So replacing those from time to time is always a good step. Now, a point about windows, people often think, and the window guys are going to hate me for this, think the windows are the major culprit of what's going on. And they're really a symptom of something larger. They're a sign of excessive airflow. The basic building science is that air rises when it gets heated. As it rises, it leaks out through the pores of the attic or wherever through the second floor of the house. As it's leaking out, it's got to come in someplace. So it comes in through the basement and it comes in through the windows. But usually if you deal with the attic and the basement as one package, you generally decrease the amount of airflow going through the house.
One of the big airflows is just the attic access cover not being insulated or weighted or anything like that. And when you're drawing air in a stack effect situation like that, you can potentially be drawing in radon gas at the same time.
Correct. And this picture is a picture of what's called stack effect. It's a commercial building, but it's just like, it acts just like a chimney. As the hot air rises, it's being renovated, it's encapsulated in plastic. As the air rises, you can see on the lower floors, it is being sucked in, and on the upper floors, it is being blown out. Well, that's a 5-story, 6-story structure. That still happens in a 2-story structure. And that's what happens when you have air movement, excessive air movement. And that's called the stack effect. Or what we call, when you see a pot of boiling water, it's convection. With that carries all the air that you've heated, spent all your money heating, and it leaks out. So the idea is to stop all those gaps and cracks, to fill in all those holes, and seal those leaks. Again, there's been many homes that have plenty of insulation, but no air sealing, and air sealing is a key.
And there are programs out there to assist with this through utility companies?
Yes, there are. Our 2 major power companies in this area, PP&L and First Energy, do have home audit programs. They're called whole house programs. The whole house program for both requires that you hire one of their auditors to do that, and yes, I'm one of them. There's a website you can go to and check. And part of the whole house audit has a couple of interesting facets. One is what we call combustion testing. Another one is energy modeling, utilizing the utility bills. And then thirdly, utilizing the blower door to diagnose the issues that are in the house.
You mentioned combustion issues, and too much air movement in the house can create confined space issues, especially if somebody remodels their basement, or also too much air leakage can create combustion concerns, can it?
Yes, one of the major concerns, even back when I was a building inspector, is your point exactly in the basement. Because often case when you get a home, you have an open vacant basement with a combustion appliance, a heater in the corner. Well, they decide to wall off and finish the basement. All of a sudden that combustion appliance, that heater, is now in a confined space, cannot get enough air to combust, and that can make a carbon monoxide issue. So that's part of the test. It's a health issue. It's a health and safety issue. So that's one of the things that we try to do is look at how the combustion appliance is functioning for general health and safety, basically carbon monoxide and draft.
Well, a house with good draft probably wouldn't have heavy concentration of carbon monoxide. It's just blowing right on through.
Well, that's the point. It's blowing right on through. You want to try to capture as much of that heat that it's generating, but not the exhaust.
So when you do these audits, you'll actually do the repair work.
I do not. I kind of pride myself in being an independent, non-biased auditor. People have told me many times they prefer to have a non-biased opinion. If I represented a window manufacturer or an insulation contractor, they would not feel comfortable.
No. It's like me inspecting a house, and by the way, you've got a broken window there, and I can come over Saturday and fix that for you. It's
a conflict of interest. Some companies do it, and that's their business model, business plan, but it's not mine.
So If people have questions or about energy audits or about your company, how can they contact you?
Well, they can contact me at my website. It's epenergysolutions.com. Phone number?
Sure.
610-906-3350.
And the utility companies?
I'll have to check my cheat sheet here. There's two. For First Energy, it's EnergySavePA-home.com. That's EnergySavePA-home.com for First Energy customers. And for the other part of the city, for PP&L, it's ppnlelectric.com.
Okay. And they will come and do an energy audit or have a professional such as yourself do an energy audit. Do they also help with the repairs that may be necessary from that?
Well, actually, the First Energy and PP&L, they have two levels of audits. One is that they will provide not a casual but a walkthrough service. The other one is the whole home performance, which is what they have specific contractors on their list that you can choose, of which I'm one of about 40 in the area. And so they do have incentives for the audit, depending on the requirements, how much you get. And also there are limited, but there are incentives for the renovation.
And I'm sure this is similar throughout the country. You know, energy utility companies offering similar services, so it's not
Coast to coast, it's not unique.
Okay. Well, that's all very good information. Our guest tonight was David Wallace of East Penn Energy Solutions. It's been a pleasure speaking with you, and I hope it was educational for you, the homeowner out there. Thank you, and have a good night.